Hello, brothers and sisters. This is your brother Alejandro Ibrahim, founder and host of KYP Conscious Youth Podcast, here again with another episode of Conscious Youth Information. Today I have a special guest, Kwesi, who is the owner of Dtr360 Books, who sells books about Black history, Black culture, and Black knowledge. I want to thank you guys again for being able to come in here, Dr. Kwesi. Thank you. The honor is mine.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Okay, and today we would like to discuss what July 4th means to Black people. So to begin, I have one question: what does July 4th mean to you, and what do you think it means to Black people currently?
July 4th means to me, it means what it actually is. It's an independence. It's America's independence of 1776. So that's what it means to me, and that's what it means to most Americans. What it means to black people. I couldn't really tell you that. I mean, I know black people are just excited about, celebrating something that they don't have a full understanding of. Um, so, I've heard a lot of times when, they said uh, they will celebrate anything as long as they get a day off from work. All right.
Mm.
So, some people are just happy to get a day off from work. Some people are just happy to go to the park. Some people are just happy to spend time with their family. So again, they don't really care about understanding the true meaning of July 4th. Some of them just want to stay home and be with family, unfortunately.
I agree with you, brother. Because today a friend of mine was saying, "Oh, I'm ready for the cookouts," but I was trying to tell her, "Do you really understand what July 4th means? The history of us? Because back then we were nobody to America. It was the white man out there celebrating. So I think a lot of, as you said, is due to miseducation and being ignorant of it. Um, this year was the first year that the government legalized or started celebrating Juneteenth. It became a national holiday. Do you think
Yes.
people see that more of a July 4th for Black people, and should we see it that way, or should we still see Juneteenth as a memorable day, but showing that the struggle still continues and we truly are not independent?
Yeah, I'll say both, because it is Juneteenth, is the day in history that we received our independence, right? June 19th, 1865. So that could be in a way our independence, which was our independence. Um, and what was the second part that you
Oh,
mentioned?
the second part, what I mentioned was that rather is Juneteenth still a representation of are we still not fully independent as Black people in regards to that holiday?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Those who understand history would know that we are not fully independent. And we have a long ways to go. Even though we are not in bondage and captivity with chains and whips and plantation and so forth, we are still in captivity of the mind. We are still in captivity of these politicians and the government. We are still in captivity and in bondage with the jobs that we have. We are still in captivity and in bondage in the neighborhoods that we live in. So, if we just look around and analyze, we are in fact and still are in captivity and bondage just by the way that we live and we treat each other. You would know that we are not a totally free people.
That's exactly true, brother, because we still are carrying on those slave mentalities. It's still the ways of our oppressors. And the question I also have is, what are some books we can recommend to especially young people to get out of this bondage so that we can understand how to properly fight this and become free people?
Of course, I would recommend Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X, written by Alex Haley. That book is a bit controversial. However, most of it is in Malcolm X's words. So I would still recommend that book. And just seeing how Malcolm X transformed his life multiple times, I think is key and should be celebrated. A next one I will recommend is The ISIS Papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Great book. That book talks about the psychology and the so-called white supremacy, and she really breaks down white supremacy. She really breaks down symbolism, again, the psychology of these Europeans. And we need to know how these Europeans act. We need to know how and why these Europeans behave the way in which that they do. So in studying ourselves, we should also study Europeans. We should also study these Chinese people, right, coming into Africa and doing the things that they're doing, stealing our land, stealing our resources, stealing our women, so on and so forth. So that is a great book. Another good book is Know Thyself by Naeem Akbar. um,
Mm,
Another good book again, and this brother again is a psychologist. So again, we should really look into psychology and look into the mind, and see why we are doing the same things that we are doing each year, like voting, right? We vote every 4 years, but we're still in the same condition. I would even argue we're in the worst condition that we've ever been in. But we should look into psychology. Again, we should look into self-education, because even the schools that we'll go to isn't educating us properly. So books like that. In addition to Asada Shakur, that's a great book. And then at the end of the book, she has a poem, which is great. I will recommend everyone getting that book. And also The Alchemist. So yeah, I'll just stop there. The Alchemist, Asada, the ISIS Papers, and Malcolm X.
that's perfect, brother. And I think that's very important. That's why I really love your platform. I enjoy working with you because you make it known that it's okay to read. That's one of the biggest problems that our youth have today. We don't think it's cool to read. It is great to read. It's better. The best you can do today is read because that way you can truly overcome that bond. My last question for you is a question to leave everybody off with a thought. What is one thing you would tell Black people to do on July 4th?
Say that again.
What is one thing that you would tell Black people to do on July 4th in
Black
order to
people.
truly know
What
knowledge itself?
what I would tell Black people to do. I would tell them to read Frederick Douglass' speech on
Mm,
July 5th,
I,
1852. Uh, have you read that as well?
yeah, I read it. And he was talking about how July 4th isn't for me to be celebrated because his people, he said, were enslaved and they were not free. That is not something that Black people can really relate to at all. That's why I say that's very powerful.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yep. So he gave a speech in Rochester, New York, I believe, on July 5th of 1852. So very, very short speech, but again, yep, just like you said, he, just gave a speech letting Black people know that we should not celebrate this holiday. This holiday is not of our own. And yeah, we were not free during that time, and we're still not free during this time in 2021 AD. So yeah, I would recommend just everyone reading that speech by Frederick Douglass, and also just by understanding what America's independence means to them. So just understanding that, right? What America independence means to them on July 4th. And just also reading the speech of Frederick Douglass of 1852.
Thank you very much, brother. I want to thank you for coming on today and giving your time. I know you're a very busy man. You're doing great in the community, so I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to come to the podcast and also sharing this knowledge. I also want to again say all the books that he mentioned are available at dtr360books.com. All the books he mentioned, great website, get great book deals. Y'all should go there and buy some books. Thank you again, brother Kwesi. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, most definitely. It's an honor. All right, y'all stay safe. Be safe out there. Hotel brothers and sisters.